What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FallenRedZeo Show. I'm back with a new action figure line of the Masters of the Universe Revelations line, a part of the new Netflix series that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. And so we have the first two figures that have been released for the new Revelations line, and they are both currently Target exclusive, so you can only find them at Target, at least for now. I think until like August or something, these are going to be Target exclusive. So the first figure we have is Skelegod, which is a weird version of Skeletor, where he's this big, mighty, god-looking guy with all sorts of awesome armor. Of course, the show isn't out yet, so we don't know exactly how he became like Skelegod and what the whole story behind this is, but it does look super awesome. Comes with some effects and a sword and everything, so he just looks awesome there that we'll look at. And if we go around onto the back, you can see a more animated picture of him from the show, and it looks awesome. Then of course there's the rest of the first wave of the line down there at the bottom of all the figures, but Skelegod just looks awesome. The animation for this looks awesome. There's another picture of him there on the side, so this figure just looks awesome. Let's hope the figure itself is as cool as it looks, so that'll be awesome to look at. And then of course in the back here we have Battle Cat, so it says it's deluxe Battle Cat, so looks pretty awesome here. So we have Battle Cat with the armor on it, again from the Netflix series of Revelation. Looks pretty dang awesome. And around on the back we have more of a story, but then a picture there of He-Man on Battle Cat, again the same pictures of the line down there at the bottom. Of course we can turn him into Cringer as well by taking off the armor, but He-Man there on the Battle Cat looks awesome, and it reminds me so much of the early 2000 series, which is the He-Man I watched when it was on. I never watched any of the He-Man from the 80s, but of course that's the one my brother grew up on, so he loves He-Man and is super excited about this series, where for me I only have the 2000s ones, and that's what the animation style looks like to me, but I don't have a strong connection to it, so I personally don't care too much for He-Man, but my brother was excited about these new figures and everything, so we've got to check them out. So we got our Battle Cat and Skelegod to open up and look at here, so let me go ahead and get them out of the package and we'll check them out together. So here we got Skelegod, and he looks pretty cool. Like, I don't think it's the greatest figure ever, just the way it's designed. I'll show that as we go through, but I think he looks awesome, which is really good. So this is obviously a different version of Skeletor. Like, if maybe he gains powers or becomes even more powerful, it's like a power-up or ultimate version of Skeletor. And of course Skeletor is the main villain of the He-Man series, and he is a sorcerer of dark magical powers that is determined to gain the powers from Castle Grayskull to be able to rule the universe. So being Skelegod seems like he maybe gained some of those extra powers, but he looks pretty awesome here. Like I said, it's got some of that basic Skeletor to him with like the blue skin, which this time he has like a blue skin underneath with a dark wash over the top of him, so you can see some of that, especially there around the knee. You can see the lighter blue underneath with some of that dark wash on over the top of it. And he has some reminiscence of the classic Skeletor, so like he has the skull head there, so of course the skull head, he has like purple ram horns coming out of the side of his head, which fits along with Skeletor's Havoc staff that he always carries around that has the ram's head on it. He has the chest arm with like the straps going around to his back, and then has like the logo there on the front, which I always say it just looks like an H with the neon green and pink. He's got the skirting around his waist, but obviously it looks different this time. And then he's got his three-toed feet, but they're all armored up and everything. So that's the thing with this, he's got all this armor on, and it has a lot of like faces and eyes, so like especially up here around his neck, like the shoulder armors, he's got these big giant armor pieces with the horns. It almost reminds me of like rhinoceros beetles or something, but he's got like the green eyes on each side, so it looks like faces, and he has that on both sides. I like the green around his neck, where like his neck is turned into a translucent green, so you can like kind of see through and everything, so that's pretty awesome. On his forearm gauntlets, he's got eyes there again with the green, nice big armored fingers and stuff. You can see the layers of the armor on there, more eyes there around his loincloth, so you see the two eyes there in the armor that wraps all the way around, and some of that purple fur, skulls there on his knee guards, and then like armored shoes there on his feet, and again you can see that layered armor going up. And around on the back he does have a cape, a nice purple cape, and it's got multiple layers, and it is like a felt fabric, so it's, you know, kind of like scratching, it sticks to itself a lot, but it's just like a cheap fabric material. And we have different layers here, so we have a light purple on top, dark purple underneath that, which has these two strands hanging down with like jewels on them, which is pretty cool, so it adds some like weight to the back of it, and then the dark with light purple down there at the bottom. So again, 3 layers there. And while I'm back here, what's really weird about this is it's just like magnetized up in there, up on the shoulder blade, so it's got these magnets there up at the top, and it has this design here around on the back, so I assume there's magnets like right in there, and then there's also the little hooks of the little hook pieces there that kind of stick in attached to his armor piece. So it's a little bit weird, so it just kind of sticks up in there and kind of hangs, but if you start moving around too much it does fall off pretty easy. But let's see, like right now I have it on and I'm kind of tugging on, so those hooks on each side do help the cape stay on along with the magnets, but like I said, if you start moving around a little bit it does fall off. It's obviously a much different take on Skeletor. You know, it does have some of the classic appearances of Skeletor, but of course this is not your standard Skeletor. So for the figure's movements, his head can twist all the way around, and again with the ram horns on there you have to kind of get out of the way, and he can look that far down and then just about that far up, so pretty much straight on. So not a whole lot of range in there, but he does have some tilt side to side as well. The shoulders are going to be difficult because of the big armor pieces, but they do come up to 90 degrees there and can rotate around within there. We've got a bicep twist, we got a double elbow joint that can bend up that far, so it can pretty much bend up on itself, which is really good. And then we got the wrist that can twist all the way around. Of course the armor is in the way there, and it can flex back and forth. Got an ab crunch right in the midsection there, so you can crunch that far back back, that far forward. It's kind of stiff, so you don't get a whole lot of movement, but he does have some crunch and some tilt side to side. Then he twists all the way around at the waist. Hips come up just about that far, just probably under 90 degrees. Again, some of the loincloth is in the way. Out to the side that far, again, as far as the loincloth will let it. It does have a thigh twist up in there, as you can see, so twist all the way around. We got a double knee joint, which the knees are really stiff on this, especially like the top joint. So I have to always bend the top one first and then the bottom joint, and you can get it up that far, which is pretty much as far as they'll go. The legs back in contact with each other. We have a shin twist right at the top of the boot, and then the foot can flex back and forth and twist side to side. So not the best movements because of all the armor getting in the way, and then he does have some issue with the feet. Like the feet are really loose, so he kind of fall forward and backwards pretty easily. So I just have to hit that sweet spot trying to get him to stand up, but it's not too difficult, and he doesn't really fall over once you get it in that spot. And I don't know if you saw, but once again, doing the movements, the cape did fall off again. So it's weird. I could tug on it like I did, and it didn't fall off, but as soon as you just start moving around, it falls off. And we get some accessories. So we get 2 fist hands. So he's got 2 fist or grasping hands that we can switch out since he just has 2 like open palm hands. So I'm going to switch the hands out. So those hands were pretty easy to change out there. And then he also comes with a sword. So it looks like the power sword almost. So that's what somewhat makes me think is Skelegod maybe got the powers of Grayskull, since he's now the Skelegod. And with the god name, you make him probably being the ultimate power and everything. So I'm wondering if maybe he did get the power sword from Prince Adam or He-Man and was unable to lock the powers of Grayskull on himself. So that may be like a spoiler thing, but obviously they released this figure, so it's not like they probably care too much, but it does look a lot like the power sword. But of course we don't have the He-Man for this set to be able to compare, but this sword looks awesome. So let's throw this in his hand. So there's the sword in his hand, and I think the sword actually looks a little too small. I think for this it needed to be a little bit bigger, but of course if it is for the Adam, he'll probably be smaller in size compared to Skelegod, so it probably will fit more to scale, but I just think it looks a little bit too small. Just doesn't look as intimidating with that smaller sword. And then he also comes with a power effect for his hand, so using some of his dark magic powers, just get this nice bright green effect. Looks like it just slides onto his hand, so that's one reason I did switch out the other hand as well. So let's just try and slide his hand up in here. So there he's got the effect on his hand, and it just kind of slid right on. So his hand is a little bit weird because the thumb's sticking out, but the effect just easily still slides right on there. So there he's got the magic effect, the power sword, and just looks awesome for a Skelegod. So not the greatest figure ever, but it does look really cool, and I'm excited to get the normal figures just to see the size comparison between them. And next up we have Battle Cat, which looks awesome here. Of course, Battle Cat is He-Man's trusty steed, and as I'm sure you know, that Battle Cat is actually Prince Adam's pet Cringer, so a giant pet tiger with green fur and yellow stripes, as you can clearly see there. And when Prince Adam has the power sword and calls on the power of Grayskull and he turns into He-Man, Cringer also turns into Battle Cat. So Cringer goes from being a cowardly pet to a ferocious and brave Battle Cat. So he looks pretty awesome here. So it's pretty much the exact same character of Cringer or Battle Cat, exactly the same, just has the red armor on, which looks pretty awesome. So we can see the cat underneath him. We will be taking the armor on so you can see Cringer itself. But the red armor on it looks pretty awesome. So he's got the nice big headdress piece here. So I like how they have the eyes paint on there so you can see Battle Cat's eyes. Nice nose piece coming down to protect his face, and these 2 spikes coming out to the front. And I like how it's a red color with like a more of an orange tint on like the spikes there and the spikes there up on his head. But a nice big armor piece covering up his head there. Then we have the saddle armor here on the back. So we take a He-Man and sit him on the back here. Of course, we don't have the He-Man for the Masterverse yet, so we can't sit anything on there really. Maybe we can throw Skeletor on at the end, but he's got the red armor as well. Again, I like the segmented plates, the nice orange horn there up the front, orange ball there on the side. You can see the straps that go on underneath, and they do actually kind of strap on. So you have the little peg that they strap around on so you can tighten it up. But it looks pretty nice, you know, pretty standard armor, nothing too crazy going on here. The armor is not like the most insane thing ever, but looks pretty good. And we can go ahead and pop the armor off. So this, it just slides onto his head and kind of sticks on around his ears and everything. So there we got the face, but you can see the armor design under here. And so this is where it wraps around his ears to help kind of hold it on and everything. And doesn't really fall off too easy. So nice armor piece there. And then of course we have to undo the straps on the bottom here to be able to get the saddle off, and it just slides off pretty easily and you just slide it right off. So now we have Cringer, so you can see his face changed a little bit different. It doesn't look nearly as ferocious. He looks pretty timid and scared and almost like it could cry at any moment. But overall looks pretty nice. So nice big cat. I do believe in like the show, or at least in the classic, like Cringer did grow in size when it became Battle Cat, but obviously for this figure it's not going to change size. So it's just the nice big size overall. But it looks pretty awesome with the green fur with the yellow stripes on it from head to tail. So at the front we have the nice bright yellow eyes, and with the way they're designed with the yellow and the light green around it, it reminds me so much of the Thundercat's eyes, so that's pretty cool. Nice big nose coming down to the mouth, that lighter green, then even lighter green underneath for the mouth. And I like how you can open up the mouth so you can see the tongue and teeth inside there. So we have the 2 big canines in the front, so that's pretty awesome. And going back, we've got his 2 ears, so light green on the inside with black painted around on the outside. And then again, the rest of the body is all the green fur with the yellow stripes. And we go down to his feet, so we get the nice big paws here, 5 toes with the sharp black claws, which look really nice, pads on the feet in the darker green, and of course his tail hanging off in the back. So for his movements, his front head joint here can move up and down, and it can and twist all the way around. So you get pretty decent movements there, and it can shake side to side. Then the next neck joint segment down is just an up and down, so you can rock back and forth there. So not a whole lot of range, but it gives them to look down a little bit more and up a little bit higher there, so that's pretty nice. Then we go to the shoulder joint, so the shoulders can move around here, and with these shoulders they do move out to the side, so it can give you a little bit wider stance that they can move in and out like that, and they can obviously twist around in there as well, so they can move forward. Probably can twist mostly all the way around if you force it, could get around, but it can go at least that high without forcing it too much, and then back that far without forcing it too much. Then we get the knee joint that can bend up probably just about 90 degrees if even that, and it has a rotation as well. Then we get the foot that can rock back and forth and twist side to side, so it has similar legs there in the front. Then as we move back, we have his next body section. So here we have a section that can twist side to side, so it gives you some movement there, and it also can twist around as well and up and down as well, so it gives you all sorts of movements in there. And then the next segment bat is pretty much the exact same thing, so it can move up and down, side to side, and can twist all the way around as well. So we have those two double segments in there that do allow you to get some better posing. Then we got his tail at the end that can move up and down and can twist all the way around. And finally we have his hind legs, and so the joints are going to be about the same, so the hip can move in and out a little bit there. Again, not a whole lot, and it can rotate around, so again can rotate about that far without forcing too much and that far forward. Then we have the knee joint, so we can bend it that far forward and that far back, so not much moving in there, and it has the twist. Then we have the lower knee joint that moves even less, so it just kind of rocks back and forth there, and then also has a twist itself. And then the same feet as the front, so it can rock back and forth and twist side to side. So of course with all the leg joints you have to kind of get them adjusted here to be able to stand up. And now if we want him back as Battle Cat, of course we need Prince Adam with the power sword to call on the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And just like that, Cringer's back into Battle Cat. It looks pretty awesome here. So just a really nice looking figure. Of course really nice to start off by getting Battle Cat because that's always a fan favorite. So Mattel putting it out from the beginning is really awesome to see. You can start with that figure. Now as I said, let's see how the Skelegod looks sitting on the back, if we can even get him on there. So he doesn't really sit on too far. I'd have to kind of mess around with his legs, but there's about the scale as you can see him sitting up on the top there. So he does seem a little bit too big, but not really too bad since it is, you know, a big giant cat. So he's not horribly off proportion there, but I'm sure the He-Man would look much better on it. Well, that's gonna be it for our Masters of the Universe Revelation Masterverse figures from Mattel, and I think they're both pretty cool. I think the Battle Cat's the best because, you know, it's pretty much a standard figure you'd get. For a cat-like figure, probably not gonna get much different, but I do think the Skelegod could just be a little bit better just with his armor and then the actual body design. But of course, we'll see how it compares when we get the actual like He-Man and Skeletor and stuff like that from Revelations. Maybe those will be a little bit better. But overall, there's not too much to complain about with the Skeletor, so I can't really say too much. But let me know what you thought of these figures down in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed my review, please leave a thumbs up for me. And if you want to see more Masters of the Universe figures, hit that subscribe button. But I want to thank you all for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in our next review.